Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is finally my bookshelf tour. So I have 3 bookshelves in my room and I will go in order of like how I've numbered them. You can see right here I have my TBR jar, which isn't really a jar, it is literally just a cup with prompts in it. And so occasionally for certain TBRs I will use that. Other times I will just pick them. It kind of depends on my mood that coming month. But I have 3 different things in there where it'll be like, oh, pick from bookshelf 1, 2, or 3. So the bookshelf that I'm currently sitting in front of, this is my first bookshelf, which will be the first one in the video, and then I will go in, numerical order, and I'll go to my second bookshelf, my third bookshelf, you'll see. But yes, finally have gotten to this. I know I've been saying I was gonna do this for like a month now, but I think I finally have all of the books the way I want them on my shelves. I do have other ideas for the future on how I'd want to organize my books, but I think I would need more shelves for that, so I'd either need to be, living somewhere else, whether that's my own apartment or something, or just having more shelves in my room at home to do that. But with what I have, this is what I've done. It could be a week from now and I could reorganize them. I don't know. I sometimes just get bored and want to reorganize, and other times I'm looking at them and I don't like the way they look anymore, and so I reorganize them. So this is just how they are for right now. It's possible in future videos you could see them and they might look slightly different. But this is also just a way to show you, all of you guys, the books that I do have and kind of what I like, so that you know whether, my videos are going to be more targeted to things you would like or things that you're interested in, exploring, or if you're like, I don't really like the types of books you read, so I'm not going to watch, which is totally fine and fair. So yeah, let's just get into the video. Okay, so before I get into the books that are on my shelves, I'm going to talk about these books that are on top of my shelf. So as I said, this is my first bookshelf. I just numbered them based on when I got them, so this was the first one I got, and so on and so forth. These are actually all of the books that I'm selling on PangoBooks, and my account, if you want to buy any of them, is linked in the description. So basically, they have an app you can do, or you can just go online and look up PangoBooks, and then it'll take you to their website, and then you can just put in my username and all of my books should show up. But most of them are Colleen Hoover books because there's, some controversy with her, and I just felt the need to not have them anymore. Like, I didn't need them. I've read a lot of them. I wanted more bookshelf space, so I just decided to sell them. Some of them aren't Colleen Hoover books, some of them are just books that I either had duplicates of or books that I feel like I'm probably just not going to read. There are a lot more books that could be added to this pile, especially for that last prompt of probably not going to read, but I'm just starting with these. So again, if you want to go buy them, go into my description, you can get my account name, and then you can go buy them. Okay, so the first shelf on my first bookshelf, wow, that's gonna get really repetitive. Okay, this shelf is mainly fantasy. I have a thriller in this corner, and then I have, I think, more of like a nonfiction book. I don't know for sure if it's 100% nonfiction, but I know the way it's written is supposed to be kind of more of like a memoir biography type thing. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's what that is. I haven't read it yet, so. But I'll basically just go through really quickly what the books are, even though obviously you can see them, but some of them might be harder to see. So, the thriller that I have over here in the corner is The Last to Vanish by Megan Miranda. Have not read that. I might not read it. I'm very picky about my thrillers. I've only read like 2 or 3, and I don't know, I just don't think it's really my genre, but I've heard a lot of good things about a couple different authors like Alice Feeney and Frida McFadden, so I feel like I'll definitely try their books out before I officially be like, not my thing, because I feel like sometimes you just maybe find an author that really does write thrillers well for you and what you're expecting in a thriller, and I just may not have found that author yet. So then we have Legendborn and Bloodmarked, which are the first 2 books in the Legendborn cycle. I think that's what it's called. There's supposed to be 3 books. Not sure when the 3rd book comes out, but I have the first 2. Then Don't Cry for Me by Daniel Black. Again, haven't read it yet, so I don't have a whole lot to say on it. Then we have my ACOTAR series. I have only read the first 2. I'm actually maybe like 20% of the way through the 3rd one, and then I stopped reading it. Not because I was bored, I just wasn't in the mood for fantasy at the time. So I stopped reading it. I'll probably go back to it at some point, just haven't gotten there yet. Then we have the Shadow and Bone trilogy. And then the Six of Crows duology, which is kind of all just one big series. And then over here is the 100 series. So I don't know if it actually has like a more specific name or not, but it's a show on Netflix, and then I found out it was a book series, and so a while ago, like, I don't know, probably like 2 or 3 years ago, I bought it and I read it. You know, it's like, it's hard to say you liked it when you watch the show first, but I liked it because of something that happened in there that did not happen in the show. It was pretty much, I don't want to say it was just the first season because it was different than what happens in the first season, but like it didn't go very far past kind of what happens in the first and second season. But it was still good, and I would still recommend if you liked the show reading the books. And that one's again more kind of like dystopian, but I don't really have a whole lot of dystopian books, so I just kind of call it my fantasy shelf, but it's kind of like those mixed together. And then of course, my pride and joy, Fourth Wing. She just has to stand out. I really want to show her sprayed edges, but I'm waiting until I get another copy where it's just like normal edges, and then I'll probably put them actually on the shelf like a normal book and have one facing out that says Fourth Wing and then one facing out that's the sprayed edges. But for now, that is how I've done it. And like I said, again, this was my TBR jar. I just need to put it here in the corner, and that's that first shelf. Okay, so these next 2 shelves on my bookshelf are actually like kind of combined. I've pretty much just alphabetized these books because the way I've organized my other 2 shelves, they either didn't fit into those organization categories or they just didn't fit on the shelf. So they used to be color coordinated, so like red to white. I don't think I had any black on this originally. I think it was just red to white. And I kind of liked it, but I feel like I've seen other people do it, and I feel like it looks really good on their shelves, but I didn't feel like it looked really good on mine. And I don't know if that's because of the types of books I had, like color-wise, or if it's just I was bad at making them actually look good color coordinated-wise, but I didn't like that. And I also wanted books like, you know, this is like a whole series, but they're different colors, so they would have been separated. I wanted to keep the author together. So I did do it alphabetically by last name. I know some people do it by first name, but I did it by last name. So that's why this shelf kind of looks like books were just kind of shoved everywhere, because they kind of were. But you'll see a very common theme throughout my shelves is ducks. I have one here and I have one here. I love ducks. I think they're super cute. There's a lot of animals, like I love turtles, I love ducks, I love dragons, I love dinosaurs, like all these different things. So you'll see a lot of those throughout my room and like on my shelves and stuff like that. That's actually what got me to read Fourth Wing, was just the dragon sprayed edges. I was like, I love this, and I heard good things about it, and so I was like, oh, why not read it? And then it ended up being my favorite book of the year. So, you know, sometimes your other likes can bring even more likes into your world. So, but that's why there's a lot of ducks that decorate my different bookshelves. So these are my 2 Elena Armas books, Spanish Love Deception and The American Roommate Experiment. Then I have my Jennifer L. Armentrout book, which is The Problem with Forever. Then I have the first books in the Inheritance Games series, The Inheritance Games. I'm waiting to buy the rest of the series. I haven't read the first one, and that's because I'm waiting to buy the rest of the series until the third one comes out in paperback. I literally can only find it in paperback in, like, I think it's the UK covers, and it doesn't fit this cover. So, I mean, I could technically buy the second one, but, like, why would I buy the second one if I'm not going to read the first one until I know the third one's out in paperback? Whatever, that's my own thing. Then I have 2 Kristen Callahan books, Make It Sweet and Dear Enemy. Then Before We Were Strangers by Renee Carlino, A Thousand Boy Kisses by Tilly Cole. Right here, The Never King by Nikki St. Crow. I know it's kind of hard to see on the video, but she's here. Then I have Every Summer After by Carly Fortune, I Need You to Hate Me by, honestly, I don't know how to pronounce this person's, I think it's like a writing name, like I don't think it's actually their name because it was like on Wattpad originally, but that. And then I've Grown Pieces by Kathleen Glasgow, and then Through My Window and Through You by Ariana Goody, The Girl He Used to Know by Tracy Gravis Graves, which actually, fun fact, I haven't read this book yet, but I'm pretty excited to read it because this book is set at the University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign, which is where I'm going to college and where I will be starting my freshman year in the fall. So I will definitely be bringing this with me. I think it'd be really fun to read it while I'm there. But I just thought that'd be a little fun fact to let you all know that I will be in school where this is set when I'm reading it, which I think is really cool. So that was a little side thing. Next, I have my Mila Gray books, which I don't know like what this series is called, but it's these books. It's 5 books. It's Come Back to Me, Stay With Me, Run Away With Me, Watch Over Me, and Fall Into Me. I have only read the first 2. Then I have The Summer I Turned Pretty series by Jenny Han. Then my, pretty sure it's the only one I'm keeping by Colleen Hoover, but Heartbones, and that's partially because I kind of annotated it, but also partially because I think it's a really cute summer read, and I don't know, I really liked it, and I felt like it was one of her like more underrated books, but like I actually liked, so I don't know, I decided to keep it for now. I might sell it in the future, we'll see. And then I have Darling Venom by, what is the full name? I can't remember her full name now. Ah yes, Parker S. Huntington, which if you watch my book haul, this was in that. And then I have the 50 Shades of Grey series, so I have the 3 books that are in Anastasia's point of view. I have not read them yet. I don't know when I'll read them. I don't know if I'll read them, but I felt like it was kind of comical to get them. I feel like if book talk would have been a thing, like, I don't know, 15 years ago, that might be really bad. I might be not calculating math correctly, but like 15 years ago, that probably would have been super popular on there. I don't know. Everyone that like I know who like reads has read that at some point, whether they read romance or not. So I just feel like I kind of feel left out, and I just kind of want to know. I don't want to say what the hype is because I don't think everyone that read it like loved it, but it was just like, yeah, I read it and it was something. So I don't know. I kind of want to read it and just see what it's about, but haven't done that yet. And then this was what was in front of it. It is not a cartoon of them. It is just a little cartoon of 2 characters that I got in my romance book box, and I don't have the book that it's from. The book did not come in the book box. It was just like a little thing to promote this author. I don't actually know what book this is from, but I would like to get it so that I can put it with the characters, but I have to figure that out. But I thought it was cute, and I just thought it looked cute in the corner, so that's why I put it there for now. Okay, moving on to this shelf, I have Meet Me in the Blue by A.M. Johnson, which was in my book box this month. I Fell in Love with Hope, autobiography, which this is actually a book by Christina Lauren that I literally never see anyone talk about because like she's pretty popular on Book Talk, and I loved this book. Like, I mean, it wasn't a 5 stars, but I mean, I think it was like a 4 or 4.5. I read it on the airplane in like one sitting. It was so good. I felt like it was also a very, very different plot line compared to a lot of books that I read. And I don't know. Like I said, I've just never really heard anyone talk about this book by her, and I think it's really good, so I would recommend for sure. If you like Christina Lauren, read this. If you're kind of like me and you were kind of hesitant about reading Christina Lauren books and you're like, I don't really know if I'm gonna like her books or not, or like you see a lot of her popular books and you're like, I don't really know if that's my thing, maybe try this, because I haven't read any of her other books. This was the first one I ever bought by her. Oh my. Bought by her. And I didn't even really realize that Christina Lauren was Christina Lauren like until I started getting more into Book Talk and being like, oh, this is that same author. Okay. So I don't know, I would recommend this. I think it's really good. Then I have Tell Me Lies, and then my 2 books from the South River, I keep talking too fast. South River University series, Stealing Ronin and Tasting Innocence. Again, I hate that second title. We don't have to talk about it. And then I have Beautiful Disaster and Walking Disaster by Jamie McGuire, which Beautiful Disaster is a movie on Amazon Prime now. If you liked the book, don't expect the book to be the movie. I'm just gonna say that. But the movie was very funny to watch. I laughed a lot. So if you just want a funny movie, I would recommend watching it because I feel like even though I gave the book 5 stars. I mean, I don't know if I would give it 5 stars now because it's been so long since I read it. I think I read it like a year and a half, 2 years ago. But I really did think the movie was funny, so I still would recommend you watch the movie. And then I have Red, White, and Royal Blue, which the movie, that is also being a movie. That's coming out in August. I'm very excited about that. But I'm also kind of like, I want to read the book, but the chapters are so long. And I, as I've said before, hate long chapters. So I don't know how I'm going to feel about that. But she's still here. So Red, White, and Royal Blue, The Song of Achilles, which I also have not read yet. I know it's very popular and like some people love it, but some people like don't like it. And so I don't know. I'm a little nervous to read that, but I have it. Taste of Hell, which was the other book that I got in my book subscription box this month. This is where it ends. If He Had Been With Me, that book shattered my heart into a million pieces. Yeah, let's just show you the cover. So you see this lollipop here with the heart and then the other heart's shattered? Yeah, that was my heart at the end of reading this book. Shattered into a million pieces. Some people read this and don't cry because the sad part happens quite quickly. Can't relate. Still sobbed for about 20 minutes after reading the book and couldn't comprehend what had just happened. So the second one comes out, it was supposed to come out later this year, but the author moved the release date back to February of 2024 because she was actually having a hard time writing the second book because of what happens in this book. And the second book's basically the male's perspective of this book. So excited for that. Literally cannot wait. But yeah, if you want to cry, I would recommend this book. It made me cry, so it'll probably make you cry. If it doesn't, it'll still just make you feel sad. Even if you don't cry, it will make you feel sad. So then we have Better Than the Movies by Lynn Painter, Daisy Jones and the Six by Taylor Jenkins Reid, Normal People by Sally Rooney, If I Was Your Girl by Meredith Russo, Things We Never Got Over by Lucy Score, Full Tilt and All In by Emma Scott, which are a duology. I have only read Full Tilt though, because what happens at the end of Full Tilt is also very sad, and I know like what the premise of All In is, and I don't know if I like that. If you've read both, you'll know what I'm talking about, or if you've read the first one and read the book, like the back, like the summary of the second one, you would know what I mean. So I don't know, I haven't gotten to it yet, but maybe I'll get there someday. Then I have The Kiss Thief by L.J. Shen and Broken Night by L.J. Shen. Now, these are the only books where I have books separated from the author. So these are the same author, but I do have another L.J. Shen book, but it fit on a different shelf for organization purposes. So, and technically, could I have switched it? Yeah, but you'll see what I mean, and I'll explain later in the video. Then we have Archer's Voice by Mia Sheridan, Priest by Sierra Simone, The Way I Used to Be by Amber Smith, I think. Yes, Amber Smith. Then we have The Hating Game by Sally Thorne, The Summer of Broken Rules and What Happens After Midnight by K.L. Walther, and The Things We Leave Unfinished by Rebecca Yarros. That's also another book that's separated from, like, authors are separated because I want Fourth Wing to have her own little section to be, ta-da, I'm me and wonderful. I'm sure the other Rebecca Yarros book I have is great. I haven't read it yet. I've also had that for a really long time. And I've just heard mixed reviews on it, so I'm a little nervous to read it, but I'm a little less nervous to read it now that I've read Fourth Wing and how much I loved that, even though they're like totally different plots and like one's a romance and one's a fantasy, like, but I'm excited to read it now that I've read Fourth Wing. And then the little duck that was sitting on the end is my U of I duck. My friend got it for me for graduation. It was just like a blue duck she found and she put a sticker on it. This will be in my dorm room as a little decoration, but for right now, it is sitting on the side of my shelf like that. So that is bookshelf 1. I really hope that is not going to be like 30 minutes just in and of itself, but I tried to go through it and really just kind of say each book so that you know what I have, because I know it can be kind of hard to see some of the books on the shelf. So that is bookshelf number 1. Okay, so this is my second bookshelf. The first thing I want to say about this shelf is the way I've organized it was kind of originally like, oh, these are like my favorite authors and their books, and so I put that on my shelf. And then as I got more books and more favorite authors, it kind of changed to be somewhat still favorite author, but some of them are like I have a lot by this author, so it goes here because it would just take up too much like shelf space on another bookshelf. Or some of it's like, you know, these books really meant a lot to me, and I want them to kind of stand out. I'll explain with each one why it is there, but some of them it's still like favorite author, but some of it is a little different. So this first shelf is my Alice Osman shelf. So I have my Heartstopper books, and then my Nick and Charlie novella, which goes with Heartstopper, Solitaire, and I Was Born for this. Yeah, sorry, I had to make sure that title was right. I have my little Nick and Charlie pin that I got when I bought Nick and Charlie. This is just a little dinosaur stuffed animal that I bought when I was in Hawaii last week. I just thought it was cute, and well, those books are cute, so I put it there as decoration. I got this Eiffel Tower when I was in Paris over spring break, and it lights up, and so I thought it would be fun to just put that there, because if you've read the books, you know why I would put that there. I'm not going to say because I don't necessarily want to spoil, but if you watch season 2 of Heartstopper, or even if you just watch the trailer for season 2, which came out today, you'll know why I decided to put the Eiffel Tower by these books. So that's that first like shelf on this cube thing. Okay, so this second shelf is my Chloe Walsh books. So right now I only have the 4 books in the Boys of Tommen series. I know she has other books, but because these are so thick and I have only read the first 2 and I'm still working towards the second 2, I feel like maybe I shouldn't buy any more of her books until I finish those. I don't know. Haven't fully decided yet, but that's all I have by her right now, and I loved them, so they get their own little shelf to themselves. And then this was just a crown that, if you find my personal Instagram, which I only ever do my Bookstagram, but I think my personal one's in my Bookstagram bio, so it's not that hard to find. For prom, I wore a really, really poofy dress, and it literally looked like a ball gown. And my friend was like, oh my god, you should get a crown so like we can take pictures together and you can look all like a princessy and whatever. So I bought a crown for the 2 of us to do fun little photos for our senior prom, but I don't want to get rid of it. Like it's like, so it just sits here. I think it looks nice on top of these books. I don't know. She could be moved next week somewhere else. It's just where she sits for right now. So that's why that's there. And yeah, this is my Chloe Walsh shelf. Okay, so this was just easier not to have my face in the shot to show the books. So this is my Monica Murphy shelf. So I have Things I Wanted to Say, A Million Kisses in Your Lifetime, and then it's not on this, it doesn't say on the side, but then Birthday Kisses, which is a novella for A Million Kisses in Your Lifetime. I know that there are, I think, 2 or 3 other books in this series that I don't have, that I unfortunately will probably have to find on like PangoBooks or something, because she is actually reprinting them and they're going to be in like a slightly different size, and it's really annoying, but it's okay, it happens. I'm glad that she got a publisher and all of that, like that's all good. So just kind of stinks that I didn't buy them in time, but that's okay. And then I have another series by Monica Murphy. I don't actually know what the series is called, but these are the first 3 books. This is Close to Me, Falling for Her, and Addicted to Him. Just, I really like her writing, and so I asked for these for Christmas, and I got them, so that's where these are. Okay, this next shelf is my Penelope Douglas shelf. So I have Tri-Six Venom, Punk 57, the entire Devil's Night series, so Corrupt, Hideaway, Killswitch, Conclave, Nightfall, and Fire Night. I have only read these 2, Corrupt and Hideaway, and I got maybe like 35-40% of the way through Killswitch, and I honestly really didn't like it. Like I was really struggling to get through it, and like certain characters, but I feel like everyone says Nightfall's their favorite, and there's so many things about Nightfall that like I want to read it, but I need to read this first, so I don't know. I'll eventually get there. It's just gonna be a struggle because I really kind of don't want to finish Killswitch, but we'll get there. And then obviously I have the first 3 books in the Fallaway series, so Bully, Until You, and Rival. As you know, Bully is one of my favorite books. It's 5 stars. Again, unfortunately, she's also reprinting this series, so the last 2 books in the series will be in a different cover. So if I can find them on PangoBooks, great. If not, I'll have to get the last 2 in a new cover. It happens. It's not the end of the world. It just kind of sucks. But that is my Penelope Douglas shelf, which this was originally like a favorite author shelf, but then I kind of was like, I just have a lot of books by her, and I wouldn't say she's like my favorite author, but I do like a lot of her books. So I just keep her on this shelf because, like I said, I have a lot of her books. So okay, so this next shelf is my Anna Huang shelf. I have the Twisted series, so Twisted Love, Twisted Games, Twisted Hate, Twisted Lies, and then the first book in the King of Sin series, which is King of Wrath. I know that she has, I think King of Pride is the second one, and then I think King of Greed is the third one. I know the second one, King of Pride, is out, and then I don't know if the third one's out yet or not, but I know it's coming out. I just haven't bought them yet because I haven't even finished this yet, and I don't want to start this series until I finish this series. So once I finish this series, I can start this one, and then I'll buy more of them. But she is one of my favorite authors. I do really enjoy her writing and her books. Okay, sorry for this really, really strange camera angle, and that I won't be in it. Nor will I be able to point because I am holding the camera, but I really could not get it to angle down to see these books. So this is the best way I could do it. So as you can see over here, this is my Anna Todd shelf. So it is the After series. It's not here because she's my favorite author. It's here because that is a series that got me into reading romance. I watched the first movie and I liked it, so then I bought all the books and I read them all in like a week. And I was like, wow, I really like romance. And so that's when this kind of whole obsession blew up. So I feel like it deserves to be on the shelf, even if it's not the best thing I've ever read in my life. I think it just deserves to be there since it was the first thing that got me back into this. And then next to it, over here in the middle shelf, is my Lauren Asher ooh, wow. Yep, I'm speaking too fast again. Is my Lauren Asher shelf. So it has the Dirty Air series and the Dreamland Billionaire series. If you watched my last, actually no, I think my book haul was not my last video, but if you watched my book haul, there's a reason why I have 2 collideds. Basically, it was an annotating error, so that's why there's 2 of them, but I love Lauren Asher. I literally buy everything that she writes, so that's why I have all of her books. But that's that shelf, and then next to it, over here in the corner, is the Elle Kennedy shelf. So, get my foot out of there. Basically, it's the Off-Campus series and the Briar U series, and then a little book that she and another author wrote called Him. There's another book with him, but I think it's called Us, but I haven't read it, nor do I have it, but that's that. So it's the deal, the mistake, the score, the goal, the legacy, and then the chase, the risk, the play, the dare, and then obviously, like I said, Him. Okay, so this is my third and final shelf, and you're probably looking at it right now and going, Paige, why are there no books on this shelf? And it's a great question. And the answer is that because I, for a while, didn't have a lot of books. Like, when I got it, I filled like 1 or 2 shelves, and then I had space. Well, then I decided, well, if you have space, you need to fill it, right? And so then I filled it, and then I decided that I really liked the way I had put this, and that I didn't want to mess with it. So yeah, that's my own problem I'll have to deal with later. But this first shelf I like to call my duck shrine. Again, as I explained earlier, I really like ducks. So this is a bunch of stuffed animals and knick-knack duck things that I have gotten from friends and family. Okay, so this shelf is actually one of the, I think it's like physically like the tallest shelf. And I've made it my annotating station. So I have all my tabs and my pens and my highlighters and like bookmarks and stuff. I just needed a place to put all of them. And again, I had the shelf space, so that's where it is. It might change, but I actually kind of like having all of my annotating supplies on my bookshelf. I think that's kind of fun. So that's why that's there. Again, that might change, but for now, that is what it is. Okay, so this next shelf is my Krista and Becca Ritchie shelf. So it is the entire Addicted Calloway Sister series. Eventually, when I finish that series, I will get the Bad Reputation duet, and then I will get the Like Us series, most likely. I feel like I'll like it. If I end up not liking the end, or if I feel like I don't really want to continue with the world, then I won't, like, but for now, that's my plan, and I feel like I will enjoy it. Gotten like halfway through the series, so I feel like I have a pretty good idea of like if I'm gonna like it or not. Okay, so my next shelf is this shelf. This is all of my sports romances. So basically, any book that isn't on the shelf that's a sports romance is either over on the second shelf for, again, the reasons I explained, favorite author. I have too many of this author's books, so like I just feel like it fits perfectly here. Or I ran out of space on the shelf and I didn't feel like it was enough, like the sports romance wasn't the biggest like trope or plot, so I moved it elsewhere. But I'm pretty sure this really is all of my sports romances. So I'm trying to get them all in frame. I'm sorry if that made you all dizzy. I didn't name all of the Addicted Callaway Sister Series books because I feel like most of you probably already know them, but I will go back to that because I did forget that. But it's Addicted to You, Ricochet, Addicted for Now, Kiss the Sky, Hot House Flower, Thrive, Addicted After All, Fuel the Fire, Long Way Down, and Some Kind of Perfect. That is the order that I would recommend reading it into. Technically, you can read it in a couple ways, but that would be how I would read it if I were you. Okay, back to my sports romance. I have my Nerf football here because, well, sports romance, and I'm a Raiders fan, and yeah, that's just why it's there. But we have Need Your Number by Mariah? Yeah, Mariah Goodwin. I haven't read this one yet. It was a pre-order that I got, and I think it's the author's like first book, so I am kind of excited to read it and see. I think it's a hockey romance, so that's exciting. The Wall of Winnipeg and Me, and you might be like, Paige, why is Mariana Zapata here and also here? I know. I know. I don't like it either. I don't like that we've separated her. I don't like it. But The Wall of Winnipeg and Me and From Luke Off with Love are completely different sizes. And I almost hate that more, with them being next to each other and being that different of sizes. So I just pretend that they're not separated and that they're not the same author when I look at my shelves. So yes, I know, just bear with me. But then we have Iced Out, Dear Ava, The Cheat Sheet, Icebreaker, Mile High, The Right Move, Consider Me, Play With Me, A Lie for a Lie, A Favor for a Favor, A Secret for a Secret, which this is a hockey series. There is a fourth one, but I don't like the trope, so I didn't get the fourth one. Until Friday Night, Under the Lights, The Upside of Falling, From Luke Up with Love, Love in the End Zone, The Art of Falling, The Sin of Kissing You, and The Hate of Loving You, which is also a series. This is a Maya Hughes series, which, if I'm not mistaken, what I read was that you're supposed to read, ooh, what is it called? Now I can't remember. There's a hockey series that, like, I know, like, the first book's called, like, Shameless King or something like that, and you're supposed to read that series, and then you're supposed to read the series where it's, like, The Perfect First or something like that, and, like, those books, and then you're supposed to read this. Well, I didn't know that, so I have already bought these when I found that out, but I hadn't read them, so I just kind of, it's not that I don't want to read them, but I feel like I like to read in the way I'm supposed to, like, order of series and stuff. So I think that's why I just haven't read it yet, but I might just have to get over that because that'll be a lot of books I'd have to read before I read these. So I don't know. We're still considering that. But then Changing the Player. So those are all of my sports romance, which when I decided I wanted to do a shelf of those, I was like, I'm going to need 2 shelves. Like, I got so many. I swear I have more than that. I love sports romance. I don't know, but that was why I organized that shelf. I just felt like out of all of the tropes, that one's the one I probably had the most of, and so I felt like I wanted to make that shelf for the biggest trope that I have, which, like I said, I think is sports romance. I was going to do Enemies to Lovers because I also really like that, but if you look down at this shelf, there's a lot down there that are Enemies to Lovers, and same with, like, favorite authors and fantasy and stuff like that. And I'm like, that's probably gonna get too, like, mixed up, and I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm moving on to the next shelf. Well, that wasn't very nice of you, football. Okay, once again, the tripod was being evil and decided that it didn't want to be able to show this whole entire shelf. So I am once again holding the tripod. So this is my dark romance shelf. Obviously, you've seen the other 2 shelves and the rest of this third shelf. It is not literally every single dark romance that I own, but it's majority of them. There are obviously some that are on other shelves for specific reasons, but these were all the ones that I could like fit on this shelf, and I felt like they're all pretty dark romance, like they make sense to be on the shelf. So that's the reason that the LJ Shen book is here, Vicious. It's not like super dark compared to a lot of the books on this shelf, but I just felt like it looks really good with this. It's like, you know, a very dark cover. And so I just felt like it looked really good, and that's why I didn't switch it. But I will say, if I get another dark romance that will fit on this shelf, I will take that out and move it over to my first shelf. So that will probably change soon. The next book is the Mindfuck series. I have the 5-book bind up, and then I have All He'll Ever Be by W. Winters, which I think depending on her, like, when she writes dark romance, I think she goes by W. Winters, but then I think when she writes, like, more fluffier romances, she goes by Willow Winter. I'm not 100% sure. I might be wrong on that, but I think then she goes by Willow Winters. But that's also, I think, a bind-up of 4 or 5 books. And then Still Beating by Jennifer Hartman, which that one's dark in a different way. Like, I feel like a lot of these are, like, spicy dark. That one's, like, triggering topic dark. Like, yeah, it's very sad. And then you have Rule Breakers, which is another, I think, 4 or 5 book bind up. And then The Awakening, which isn't really a dark romance. It's actually fantasy, but again, it looks really good there color-wise. So that would be the next book that I would take off there if I needed to. Like, there are some series on here that aren't complete, so like if I buy the next book in that series, I would take that off and move that over to the fantasy shelf, but it's here for now. And then I have the Maid series, so The Sweetest Oblivion, The Maddest Obsession, and The Darkest Temptation. I've only read the first 2, but I am excited to read the 3rd one because I have heard that for some people that's their favorite, even though I rated the second one 5 stars, and I really don't know how it could get better, but maybe it does, I don't know. And then I have my H.D. Carlton books, Satan's Affair, which is like a prequel to the Hunting and Haunting Adeline books, and then Haunting and Hunting Adeline. And then I have my Emily McIntyre books, Hooked, Scarred, Wretched, and Twisted. I think Crossed comes out later this year, which is the 5th book. Then I have my Sarah Kate books, Praise and Eyes on Me, and then my Kate Robert books, which are Neon Gods and Electric Idol. So yeah, those are my like main, like, oh, I feel like these are all kind of dark romances and should be on here. The only other series that I feel like should be over here is the 50 Shades of Grey series, but I definitely don't have room for that one over here, so that is why it's on my first shelf. Okay, so that was my bookshelf tour. I know that that might have been either really rushed, like I talked a lot, or really long, and I thought I was talking fast, but was not. I messed up a couple times, as you'll see, and, you know, talking really fast, because I was trying to make this video, like, short, but I have a lot of books, and so it was really hard to make it short, but I did want to give you guys a very in-depth bookshelf tour. If you guys have any questions or wanting to know more about a series or something that you saw, comment those down below. I'm more than happy to either make a video specifically about different series or just answering it in the comments. But yeah, again, also comment any other videos you want to see. I think my next video will be all the books I've read in 2023. But yeah, that's my video for this week. I hope you enjoyed. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, all of that fun stuff. And yeah, thank you guys so much for coming back and watching my videos. I really appreciate it. We broke 100 views on my book haul video that I posted like 2 weeks ago. That's insane to me. I only have like 16 subscribers, and I really don't normally get that many views on my videos, and it's totally fine. I really only make these for my own enjoyment. Like, I enjoy talking about my books. But it's so crazy to see that many people like actually like click on my video and watch it. So if you do watch this and you're not subscribed, but you do like this content, why not subscribe? I post about it all the time. I love it. My Bookstagram and my PangoBooks account will be in the description down below. Thank you guys so much. I hope you enjoyed. Bye. See you next week.